Hello everyone, so it's been a while since I made a video. There's lots of things that have happened, so I want to keep you up to date with it. Um, basically, last year this year actually, in August, there was a TI gathering which I attended with many other TIs, and got linked with loads of other TIs, took their numbers, and we're keeping in touch ever since. So, but that has resulted in a lot of ranking up of gangstalking and microwave directed energy weapon attacks, and the voice to skull technology has gone insane, and I mean really insane. It's sick what they're saying to me, and it's sick what they're trying to do to me, and is beyond words that can paint even a small picture of what I go through every second, every day, every minute, every hour. But it's not that I'm defeated or anything, or I'm still keeping fine, I'm still keeping healthy, I'm still keeping my routine. I try to have a source of income, so I keep myself occupied and, trying to juggle life despite the torture, despite the suffering, despite the satanic treatment at the hands of the people who are supposed to be protecting me and others like me. I was hoping maybe, just some kind of an angel will come through in the form of a politician or somebody like Jeremy Corbyn winning the election and finding out what the secret government and what secret societies are doing to individuals like me, and maybe collectively with the people there could have been something done about it if it was the government's will, if there was a will of people. But unfortunately that didn't happen, because most people are too thick, they can't understand, sadly. So they basically stabbed themselves by choosing a perverse, fascist, wannabe dictator. He can't even be a dictator. He can't. The guy can't look after a toilet, for fuck's sake. Anyway, excuse my profanity. So a lot of torture right now. A lot. I mean, if you see my previous videos, I've said that my torture is not so bad. I can cope with it. But right now, and for the last I've been trying to keep a job, sort of part time, just to keep a source of income, to keep me going for the last 1 year, which is why I've had no time to post any videos or have much online activity. So I've kept busy, kept myself to myself, and tried to survive somehow, and maybe hope that there will be a better day soon, or a better year, a better week, or better month. So continue to motivate myself that despite all this, it's worth sticking around and maybe helping others in some form of shape. So I'm organizing protests at the moment in front of the parliament, and I'm attending other people's protests too. So there is that side of things, that every month I'm arranging protests in front of the parliament with regards to gangstalking and direct energy weapon attacks and mind control and secret services involvement in abuses. That's every month. I've been doing that for 5-6 months now, and there are people who are showing up occasionally. I get some support from other TIs who I'm in contact with, who are not far away from where I live. They all live in southeast of England, so the distance between is hundreds of miles, not thousands of miles, maybe tens of miles, some of us. So that's the good side that has happened as a result of the TI gathering in front of the BBC in August. But as a result of communicating with other TIs and networking with other TIs and coming up with plans and strategies to help us promote our causes and to try and expose what's happening and to try and get some form of relief and justice with other TIs, but it's not it's not working at the moment. I mean, it's a struggle because TIs are. Remember, everyone's not as willing as I am. I've said that in my previous videos too. Some people are just cornered and just just can't physically or mentally do it because these guys that are torturing us, they go through your thoughts in a form and shape that very little stands hidden from them. If you think about something, basically they know it. You know, if you are thinking about something in particular, that is how mind control works. And they try to influence what you're thinking and try to direct your thoughts in a way uh, to cause you psychological damage. In effect, it would be very similar to um, a software programmer writing a code to hack a computer. You see what I mean? So this is the process. I mean, they've got the technology to hack the human mind, and they've been using it in secret, and they've been torturing, in my opinion, across the world. There's at least tens of millions of people, 20, 30, at least 10 million people are being tortured with directed energy weapons and with mind control technology. And that list may grow much more because everyday governments and cults and weapon manufacturers and big corporations are spending money to recruit new members, new workforce to do this dirty work for them. Because remember, the people who are actually the owners of this planet, they are not doing anything. They're sitting and passing on the orders, and people like me suffer as a result. So lots have happened. I try to keep you as informed as possible. Let me give you a small summary. I started working in this place over a year ago, and on and off I've been working there. They have tried so much, and I mean so much. It's just, I don't want to even say what I'm doing um, because it's not really relevant. But the point is, it's just a simple job. It's even underpaid, but it's a job. It keeps me going. It's a reason to wake up every morning or something. Like I have a task to do. I'm not just sitting and wasting time and getting tortured because that's what they want. If you allow them, the time, if you allow them the opportunity, they will take it. Like, it's a matter of seconds. They are torturing me right now to a level where it's hard to form speech. I have to really concentrate to choose my words to form speech, because there's not one person that is. There used to be one or two or three people, but the voices are so active right now. I mean, you call it voices, not voices. It's voice to skull technology. It's so active, it's beyond words, and it's sickening. Combined with my work, combined with the targeting, being surrounded by their neighborhood stalking team members. I'm surrounded by these guys, so they want a reaction from me. I mean, I'm not talking even about just a simple reaction, or they want a serious reaction from me, some form of outburst, some sort of violent or aggressive response to their torture. But so far, I mean, despite their best efforts and despite my even the will there, so it's not is not a simple step to explain to you how they do this. This is not a simple step by step. This is not a sudden thing. It's a step by step process, you know. So it takes time for them to bring you to that level of thinking where they could influence your thought process. You know, it takes a lot of time. I've been implanted in 2012, and we're entering 2020 soon. So what, 8 years of mind control? That's a lot of years. You know, your mind control is, people say it's non-consensual human experimentation. That's a very, very inaccurate way of explaining. This is something they are using to just get by, to confuse people, because if you call it human experimentation, oh, people would have a different picture in their head. But if you call it microwave directed energy weapon torture or mind control, something like that, that explains, you know, what you're suffering. Because non-consensual human experimentation, that is a very wrong term to explain this. This is not human experimentation. This is targeting people. This is rewriting their thoughts. They're reprogramming their lives, changing their habits, changing their thought process, changing the way they see things, changing the way they look at things. You know what I mean? This is very complicated stuff, and it's not done over a one day or one day. This is word by word command, repetition, 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 repetition. You know, it's not like 1 second repetition. Several things repetition by several people at the same time. You're bound to register at least one or two of those things that are being said to you. And if you think about what they have said by the voice to skull technology, they immediately know what you're thinking, because remember, most of people who are suffering from mind control have been implanted with a microchip, and they're likely implanted in their brain. They don't know that. I didn't think I was implanted either, so that's why I'm certain most people are. And I used to think that they could do it without the chip. It is wrong. They can't. They can send voices to people by many means, by satellite, by cell towers, even by laser technology, by, you know, many ways. Electromagnetic weapons have a wide range of use. There's lots of frequencies that they can tap into to give you, send you voices. But to read your thoughts, in order to read your thoughts, they need to have an internal reading of your brain, not an external reading from outside. You see what I mean? There has to be an internal reading, because your outside physiology changes with it doesn't. I'm trying to explain something, that you need a chip to be mind controlled. You understand? They cannot read your mind without a microchip at the moment. This is false analysis of many TIs who claim to know everything. They need a microchip to read your thoughts. If they're able to read your thoughts, you have to be certain that you are implanted with a microchip. And people say they're using nanochips. Nanochips are very, very difficult to produce, and they're very, very hard to install in the center of your nervous system. But whereas a physical RFID the size of a grain of rice, that is possible. You know, that is easily done through the nose via syringe long enough. So that is how most of us are implanted. I've had to dig many years of my past in order to figure this out, because they do it in a way that they don't tell you that that is what they've done. They try to confuse you. When they implanted me, I was sitting at a bar. Basically, it was my third pint of beer all together that night, and I had just taken a sip from the third pint, just one sip, and that's all I remember. The next minute I remember is waking up 4 or 5 hours later, much far away from where I was, with lots of injuries to my face, to my nose, to my neck and stuff. I've explained that in other videos too. So I mean, it wouldn't do that if they could do that without microchip. I'm not a simple person. I don't want to sound big-headed or anything, but you know, if they can do that to me, they can do that to anyone. You know, especially at the time that they done that, I was at the peak of my life. I mean, physically and mentally and financially and psychologically, I was in the best form I could have been, and that's when they struck. and took me down. Basically, in my eyes, I've died in 2012. This is just me taking breath, somehow surviving physically, but mentally they killed me in 2012. This struggle that I have right now is not because of a particular lust for life or for any other thing, but it's more of a sort of seeking justice and informing and exposing and letting other peoples know that there are evil things in the world taking place, and there are evil people doing it, and those people have fantastic and luxurious lifestyles because of this, you know. So there is a massive industry, there is a massive amount of cash flow flowing in these projects that are targeting people like me and other TIs. Lots have happened. Lots has happened to me, and some of them I want to talk about, but some of them would put me in a predicament. So I try to explain as much as I can. Basically, currently, I feel that I'm in the worst form of torture I have ever been. Um, the voices are very active. I'm surrounded by gangstalking neighbors, and as soon as I leave the house, I'm stalked to the point where I go to wherever I go, and there's not just one person stalking me. Even people crossing, you know, it's street theater. You know, it's hard to explain when you're not familiar with these things. It's hard to explain. People don't understand it. I mean, I've explained some of my happenings to some of the people. They are shocked, and for that reason, they are finding it hard to believe that, oh, government can do that much to an individual based on something that has happened without the knowledge of this person. You know, they can go to those extreme lengths to do this. The other day, the judge gave him MI5, which is the British Secret Service, the rights to kill, torture, kidnap, and basically do anything to anyone in the UK or abroad, and they will not face any legal consequences. So, license to kill, basically, that is the right they have, and people like me who are totally in the wrong place in the wrong time find themselves at the receiving end of this horrendous torture, and it's very difficult to continue life in such in such extreme form of surveillance and torture and influence and control, the most extreme and sadistic and sick, despicable form of torture. You know, that's beyond words. If words fail to explain what I suffer every day. If you watch my previous videos, you will know the difference, but that is not the case anymore. And all because I attended a TI gathering and linked up with other TIs, and they hate that. I mean, absolutely, they hate it. They want TIs to stay divided, to stay isolated, to stay far away from each other at a distance. They don't want TIs under one roof. They don't want TIs coming under one group to claim their rights, because if that happens, then basically they have failed, and they don't want their multi-billion-dollar or pound industry to just die away. They've invested a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy in this. They want to benefit from it in a long term. So colonization point 2 basically is the purpose. If it makes sense to you, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's lots of countries that are doing this now, and I believe this is a bigger threat than any nuclear weapons, because, you know, electromagnetic technology is so powerfully advanced now that there is no privacy, secrecy left anywhere on the planet. If they can't do it through cell towers, they'll do it through satellites. If they can't do it through satellites, they will do it through drones. Like there is no hiding place anymore. So yeah, it's a total nightmare when you really think about it, and all this rising technologies like nanotechnology that threaten humanity. Humanity's essence is a threat. Like the reason we are human is because of this. We use this far more than other animals, and we are human because of that. And we've built culture, societies, cities, you know, economies, industries, um, you know, languages, etc. because of this. And if you don't have access to this and the privacy to this, then you are basically fucked. Sorry, I used no profanity in my previous videos, but excuse my profanity if you could, because I am on under the most extreme form of torture. Like it's hard to form speech. Somebody said to me once in one of the comments, "How do you talk like this while you are under mind control?" It's hard. Well, I don't know. I'm still able. Like they haven't. Maybe because I've managed to continuously talk to people and not kept myself isolated. Because if you keep yourself isolated, they affect the way you think and the way you form speech, the way you form words, the way words appear in your thoughts. So they affect those processes by their voice to skull technology, by trying to traumatize you, by trying to keep you in a state of fear, panic, anxiety, humiliation, degradation, constantly. It's not just 1 minute, 1 month, second, it's constant process. So, yeah, at the moment the torture is very bad. It doesn't look like it's gonna go get any better. So I was hoping maybe I'll get chance. Earlier I tried to make videos. I was unable. I tried to record some, but then just I failed to save. Whereas today it's okay. For some reason I'm managing to speak for 22 minutes and without extreme form of influence from them. The profanity stuff, you don't know what they are saying to me. So if you knew what I hear from them, I think you would forgive a lot of things to me. So don't worry about the profanity. If you're children, don't watch this. Anyway, so yeah, cranked up, ranked up, whatever you want to call it, they are really going for me at the moment. And not just going for me, they are looking and digging for material that could be used against me, whether it be psychologically, financially, whatever, just that kind of stuff. Blackmailable material, not just on me, on everybody I know, my relatives, my family, this, that, So they want to basically say to me, like, yeah, we are gonna totally ruin your life, and we're going for you, we're not stopping, and you're basically in a predicament. If you don't take your own life, then others will be hurt too. So that is what they are trying to put me under constantly. That is the message they want to give me. Like, oh, look, this is happening to you. We can extend this to everyone. Like they can come under this program and they could be tortured like you. So that's not something I wish. And I'm keeping active as a result for security, basically security. I'm sticking around for as long as possible because I don't want this to happen to any of my loved ones, and That is also part of the reason and motivation that keeps me going every day, because with this kind of influence and control on on every aspect of your life, I'm not sure I have explained this in my previous videos. A lot more has become clear to me since making my previous video. It's been a couple of years since I posted any videos, making statements. So they hate protests, by the way. I mean, their nemesis is protest, and TIs in the United States. You're so many. You're so many. There's so many of you. You need to do something. You need to organize more protests. You need to lead, because there's more of you than any of us. You in the UK, I'm arranging protests every month. A lot of people contact me, show interest and stuff, and encourage me, but very less show up. And I understand that they're pushing you to your limits and using stuff to emotionally, psychologically, physically blackmail you, but you have to do it. If you want this to be exposed, your life, don't think you really have a life, because what is life? I mean, I think about myself from my point of view. I don't have any privacy. I'm not gonna have any future. Uh, I'm not gonna have any real quality life, So it's just gonna be torture and torture and torture, and sickening torture, sickening voices, sickening gangstalking, sickening directed energy weapon attacks. So extreme, so painful, so disturbing, so psychologically traumatizing. That is the case, and people calling this experiment insults my intelligence. Like, you can be thick, but you can't be that thick. Like, experiment for what, you idiots? Experiment? They are killing you. They are forcing me every second of the day towards taking my own life, and towards destitution, towards humiliation, towards dishonor. And this is experiment. How is that experiment? Whoever is saying that, this is there is loads of people who have died, who have killed themselves as a result of this. Do you understand? That is not accidental. That is the aim of this program. This program is aiming to push you towards suicide, towards madness, towards insanity, towards disability, towards discreditation, towards everything. Like, they're step by step taking everything good in your life and replacing it with shit. And this is experiment. This is not an experiment, my friend. So don't call it that, because people like me, like, experiment. You don't experiment with people like me. Do you understand? I'm not some stupid little boy that you experiment with. I had a great life. I was an influential person. I was somebody, and then they try to drive me insane. They try to discredit me. They try to dishonor me. They try to shame me. They try to humiliate me. They try to make me take my own life several times. Not that I went for it, but not that they didn't try. Not that they're not trying right now. They're right now trying that. Every minute, every day is a fight, is a struggle. From the minute I wake up, I get hardly any sleep. I'm not sure you can see my face. There's a considerable weight loss, and they're trying to create chaos in my mind constantly, and it's very difficult to maintain just a normal face. Forget about a normal lifestyle. It's disgusting what they're saying to me, and it's disgusting what they're trying to program me with. This is specific perversification of a person. They're trying to perversify me, like, really sicken my. It's not my character. It's nothing in my character with regards to those kind of things that they're trying to program me with. And I'm not even susceptible. Like, I'm immune to their programming. Honestly, I mean, they're trying to perversify me, but I'm immune to it. But nevertheless, they're still trying. They're still keeping. So yeah, this is destruction of somebody's life in the most convenient and the most easy way and the most finally get away kind of thing. Yeah. So you implant somebody with a microchip and you force them to think about something, and you read their thoughts and you find material on them, and you keep on going and going and going until you drive this person mad and they take their own life out of desperation, because either they're going to be dishonored, shamed, humiliated in public, which TIs are. You don't know what they're saying to me. You don't know what they're doing to me. I don't have the words to even acknowledge it myself, but it doesn't mean that I don't see it. It doesn't mean that I don't hear it. It doesn't mean that it's not happening to me. You should know mind control, man. They read every second word that comes in your mind. They influence every second what you're thinking. Every second they're trying to reprogram you in a way that damages and destroys your life, your positivity, your character, your personality, your future. So this is not experiment. Don't be that stupid to call it this. Don't think everybody is targeted like you. There's people who are targeted much more extremer than I am. So this is not experiment. Experiment long decades ago. They did it on people, on disabled people, on vulnerable people, on single women, widows, soldiers' wives and soldiers, disabled soldiers and traumatized soldiers. This kind of thing, they did it in the past, in the 50s, 60s. But this technology that they're using with me, this RFID microchip implantation through the nose, in the center of the brain, this has been happening since 70s. They had Gwyn towers before that. Gwyn towers. I don't know if you know what are Gwyn towers. Basically, they're also frequency generators similar to cell towers. Cell towers are a photocopy of Gwyn towers, but in a much more stronger way. Yeah. Let me tell you what they're using. So, MRI, when you go to a doctor and they give you MRI, so they can see layers of your skin, your muscle, and veins and bone and everything, different slices. Yeah. That technology is being used on a massive scale right now on everybody. For example, me. So I didn't know how they could see this, but let me give you an example, and you would understand how that is. Before, they would target specific spots, and I would think, oh, maybe because they know the microchip is here, they're just working out by guessing where they're hitting. That was my miscalculation, and how could I? I mean, how can you understand what is being used on you when I'm sitting here and it's top secret? I don't know. There is no information about it. There is no material about it. So many TIs are giving so many confusing statements, and it's difficult to filter everything out. I mean, somebody's saying it's chemtrails that we are breathing. Somebody's saying they have portable directed energy weapons next door. Somebody's saying, oh, they don't need microchips. Somebody's saying this. Somebody's saying that. Over the years, I've filtered all this information, and with a pinch of salt, basically, and came to my own conclusions eventually. I am beyond satisfied and convinced that they cannot mind control you without microchips so far. Yeah. And they are not using yet nanotechnology. They're not. They're not. There is no way to administer it. You understand? The people say vaccinations and stuff. They can do it. But in order for that chip to be affected, it has to be in the center of the nervous system to read brain activity. And that is a long journey inside the body through the veins, for it to go there and land there. I shouldn't even say that, to be honest, because these sick people can use any information on future generations if it's not for you. So yeah, they could do it that way, but that's not what is being used right now. So far, they're still going for the simple RFID implantation. They look at targets, they select them, they choose them, they follow them, they stalk them. They watch them with their MRI scanners, which is through the cell towers. They can MRI an entire location with cell towers. So this is one cell tower, and this is another cell tower. and maybe there is one over there. So they pinpoint waves from this in that direction, they pinpoint waves from this in this direction, and the one from the behind. So they can get a 3D MRI of the person, buildings, they can see through things, they can see through walls, they can select a specific spot in your body to hit you with directed energy weapons, or they can focus their beam on your brain and get a specific reading of your brain or something. But they cannot control your thoughts without microchip. Remember that one. Don't be confused by city TIs. There's loads of city TIs confusing us. I knew loads of them. Some of them took their own lives. You never know, I could be next. But that is sadly the purpose of this program. It is to lead you to your worst form of being, and you would want to escape that in the form of taking your own life. That is the purpose of this program. People like me are in those category of the watch list. Elon Musk has sent satellites, loads of them, to space. Probably Bill Gates has them. So before, this used to be just a government thing, and now private companies are coming into mind control industry. Elon Musk has his own Neuralink industry, like he's trying to research about mind control and how neuroscience works with technology. So soon he's gonna have your politicians in his pocket, like private companies. This is getting out of control. This is in China. There is hundreds of thousands of people being targeted, millions. So 1% of the population is apparently a target. So if China is for 1.4 billion, I would say about 14 million people are being targeted, but not every one of them is under mind control. So, and the same goes with India. This is state sanctioned programs. This is not just an individual or secret program. This is state sponsored programs. State is designating funds for this. For example, in the UK, this project is so big. This is billions of pounds involved in this. This is not just some silly fluke, like, oh, somebody found this technology and they're using it on you. No, you've been selected for this. You've been carefully selected and chosen for this program, not because you happen to be a stupid person. Some stupid people maybe studied. Yeah, I'm saying, maybe some TIs are stupid too. Not every TI is a clever one. So, I'm a TI, so that means that it's alright. I am a TI, I know everything. Just being a TI doesn't mean you know everything. Some TIs know, some don't. Some are doing stuff about it. But if you are sitting on your ass and doing nothing about it, don't come to me and say I'm a TI. You're not a TI, you're a victim, man. I hate victims. Targeted individual, that is what you are. You're being targeted by extreme forces who, in the UK, MI5 is doing it with the help of Freemasonry and conservatives. In the USA is madness. In China is madness. The communist regime is doing it. The Secret Service is doing it. Who's doing it? You can't find out those things. They have secret camps where they're torturing these Uyghurs in eastern China. So millions are in camps, brainwashing camps. So that is one side, just to Uyghurs. Then there is the rest of the China, the Mandarin speaking people, others. China is a big country, multi-ethnic nation, multi-language nation as well. Excuse me, I sometimes have to take a pause because some words are just they are exhausting when they say things to you. So anyway, so China, Canada, America, Brazil, even Mexico, like, countries are doing this. UK is doing it. European Union nations are doing it. Germany, France, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Spain, Portugal, Turkey. Turkey's got a mind control program and torturing its own citizens. Erdogan is his own weapon, using it against his opponents and stuff. Um, I've got to go to work as well right now, so every minute I'm staying here, I'm basically not getting paid, but it's to for a good cause, so it's worth it. Um, yeah, so who knows when there will be a next video, or would there be, or would there not be one? By all means, use whatever information you have. I've given some wrong figures in the past. I want to correct them, because I've learned much more ever since. Uh, Being under my control, I've viewed my videos and seen a few mistakes. For example, the Schumann resonance in my previous videos with regards to directed energy weapon cell towers, basically. With regards to them, I've said that Schumann's resonance is 8.93. That's an incorrect figure. What I meant was 7.83 hertz. That is the correct figure. And I mentioned the name of some guy called Sip something. I can't remember. I'm terribly affected by mind control right now. So they're really affecting my thought process. It's hard to form speech, confusion, and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not immune to this as well. It affects me in great ways. Don't look at the surface and know what you hear. There's a lot more happening inside my brain that I can't talk about. Yeah, so this is not experimentation. This is deployment of an extreme form of torture that nobody can escape. There is not a person on the planet that does not have things that he liked to keep to himself or herself, and would be in one way or another humiliated if everyone knew this. And they use that against the individual, constantly pushing them and constantly directing their thoughts in a negative way to get a suicide out of them. So the end result of this is suicide for most people. Yeah, so nobody's gonna leave this program alive. They may leave you over there, just like dump you and say, yeah, all right, we're done with this person. This potato is no good to us anymore. So they'll leave you like that. But if you're active and you're constantly posing a threat to them, then they're not gonna leave you. I mean, all I have done is meet with some TIs and arrange protest, and they have gone for me. They have really, really gone for me. Like, it's hard to explain what they're saying to me and how much they're torturing me. They're talking to me in my sleep now as well, trying to get confessions, trying to get statements, and trying to get things, blackmailable material. The mind doesn't have a firewall, but over the years, I've managed to, like, keep things in their own boxes. So far, everything is fine, but the torture is unbearable. Is hard to explain and hard to put in words what they're doing to me. Directed energy weapons and lack of sleep and work and these voices and the gangstalking and the neighbors. Just beyond words. It's insane. I was hoping, politics could change this, and maybe a different, friendlier politician would take over our affairs, but that didn't happen. So, yeah, the voice is extremely, ex- extremely disgusting and disturbing. Okay, so the way to beat this is to wish something viral happens and everyone finds out. I constantly tweet things. I don't want to share my online secret names and stuff because I want to keep it secret like that. But yeah, if you are watching my videos, if you are, if you increase your activities, there is a chance your torture would be increased. But to be honest with you, I mean, despite the torture they are putting me through, I think what I'm doing is worth it, because I'm not just considering myself. There's a lot of other people involved in this, and so, so far, despite their best efforts to blackmail me and to silence me and to intimidate me and to bully me and to corner me, has failed. I mean, it's a major failure. Um, but they're not giving up. It doesn't look like they're giving up. And that means I'm going to be continued to be tortured, continued to be humiliated, continued to be suffering, continued to be damaged, destroyed, interfered with, controlled, influenced, disturbed, traumatized. You name it, they would do it to me in order to get a confession out of me of some kind that they could use against me, to emotionally, psychologically blackmail me, or to use something to silence me, or to get an outburst from me, and violent outburst to react to something, um, to be in trouble with the law or something. That is what they're seeking from me. So far, that is a major failure, and I've kept myself occupied with positive things. So I'm trying to keep a source of income and trying to keep healthy. Um, they've they've done things which I would maybe one day talk about as a whole, but right now I can't talk about it. They've tried their best to eliminate me basically, and I've continued to survive, and they don't like people like that. But somebody calling this non-consensual human experimentation, slaps me in the face each time. Somebody trying to force me for what, over 10 years of surveillance and 8 years of mind control, to get some kind of outburst out of me, to get some kind of reaction out of me, to some kind of a harm causing scenario, which I would never do, which I would never encourage, or which I would never condone. But it doesn't mean that they're not trying it. They've tried their best, and so far I have maintained uh, 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 a resilient restraint, basically. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it short. Hopefully, if we all put our connections together and link with each other and come up with ideas and strategies and programs to expose this, to shed light on this such an important issue. You are nothing without your mind, and if your mind is being taken over and influenced and rewritten in a negative way, then there is no hope for humanity. Everything is worthless. All with the arrival of artificial intelligence and all these supercomputers and nanotechnology, it's frightening. So we need to do something. We need to expose this, and if we're not exposing this, then we are the losers. I hope you have a good day, and I hope this video helps you in some kind of way. Have a good day, evening. Bye bye.